first day the green monster arrived. We took it out to do a demonstration for a client, and we go to do this interaction, this demo, and I don't even know how to turn the PTO on. Okay, and I have my day porter there. I have one of my helpers there. Bird Tech was watching me. Clients were watching me. Like, it was a show. I blew a hose. When I flipped the bin, I dumped all the compost on the floor. Like, it was a disaster. It was a nightmare. But it was one of those things where when the bin came back down, washed it, whatever. It came back down. Think of when a newborn child is born and they're in the bassinet. And imagine the baby opening its eyes and it looks up and it just has surrounding families, grandmother, parents. Wow, look at the baby. That's how we all were. We were all around the compost bin looking inside. It's clean. So it worked. And so anyway, so that was an amazing interaction on the field. But what happened right after was even bigger, where now my truck is all disgusting now. I have rotten food in the back of the truck and the hopper, and it just smells like death in there. So we're driving the truck back to Ontario, and I'm taking it to a car wash. Now I remember your pops, the legend, tells me, "Hey," I told him, "Where do I dump all the dirty water?" He's like, "Well, some people use a car wash, RV station, it's whatever." I was like, "All right, I'll go to a car wash." So I go to a car wash. I open the valve to dump the dirty water. I flood the whole car wash. So I got, shit water to my ankles. Okay. Sorry, you can edit that. But anyways, I'm literally, I'm flooding this whole thing, and I'm trying to clean the truck, and I'm panicking here because it smells horrible. And all of a sudden, 6 city pickup trucks, those white Colorados with the beacons on them, they all pull up and they all surround my truck. And they're city Ontario officials, and they don't look nice. They're guys, the construction looking dudes with the big Arnett shades and whatever. They pull up and they're all with their arms crossed. They're all looking around, and they're just like, "What does this truck do?" And this one, the main guy is looking at me. Well, I say main guy, but really the meanest looking guy. He's looking at the truck and he says, "Does this truck do what I think it does?" And I just remember answering him, "Well, what do you think it does?" And he's like, "Does this wash trash cans?" And I'm like, "Yep." And he's like, in the most serious tone, he's like, "I've been looking for this for 7 years." And I'm just like, "Oh man, like, uh-oh, like this is it, And let me rewind just a second. Remember I had seen your dad at the Las Vegas convention that same year. You guys had a big booth. And when I walked around the floor and I told people we're from Ontario, California, they kept mentioning Ben Mayorga. They kept saying, "Oh, that's Ben Mayorga," because Ontario does its own waste. All the haulers are chomping at the bit to take over the city of Ontario. But Ben Mayorga is the head honcho there, right? So anyways, let me go back to my interaction here. I got this guy with his arms crossed, looks like I'm going to get killed. And he's like, "Oh, well, my name's Ben." And when I shook his hand, I'm like, "You're Ben Mayorga." And he's like, "How do you know my name?" And I'm like, "Well, you look like a Ben. You look like a Ben Mayorga." And so whatever. At that point, I get a little smile out of him, right? I see a little bit of teeth. But at that moment, we connected, and literally fast forward a little bit, we now have an exclusive contract with the City of Ontario. We wash all the dumpsters for the City of Ontario. I think one time we washed like 500 dumpsters in a week. It was incredible. It's or not dumpsters, residential cans, but we do residential cans and dumpsters for the City of Ontario, and at the moment, it's our biggest contract. And they've been a major blessing for us.
People absolutely love the service. They love the result. I think our customer service and customer satisfaction is through the roof. Like, that's our number one goal. We run to problems. If there's ever an issue, we fix it directly. We face it head on. We don't hide from it. That's one of my things that I kind of carried over from football, and my partner in the company sees it the same way. On the football field, everything's recorded, right? There's no hiding. You screwed up, you got to own it, you got to go fix it. And that is exactly how we approach problems here at Bin Scrub.
That's awesome. I mean, I think when you said reading the reviews, I know my dad reads reviews all night. He plays the YouTube videos all night to the point where it's something that you're proud of to see that people not only take the time to buy your service, but to also put such good reviews out there.
Word of mouth is always going to be your strongest form of, reputation building and credibility. So that's been very important to us. I think one thing we did early on that maybe some people would balk at is we did a lot of free cleanings. This was, again, a new industry, an area that had never seen it. People didn't know what it was. They'd never seen the trucks. We wanted to get these trucks out in front of people. Not to mention that they're giant billboards, and you guys style them up right. They look great. People want to see what's happening. People literally stop in their tracks when they're out walking and watch it. So we did upwards of probably 500 free cleanings, where we literally hit the ground with tags, and we hit a bunch of garbage cans in certain neighborhoods, real targeted areas, and offered free cleanings. And those people really are the foundation of our business.
I love that. I think there's nothing that speaks more than a satisfied customer. So I like that you guys do that.
And I think that's also another thing I wanted to mention, just the support that you guys have offered has been really, really outstanding. I know that I can reach out to John or David and get a response real quick, whether it's just a tip on how to do something or fix something quickly, to troubleshoot something, or to get some parts sent our way. It's been very, very easy to work with you guys.
Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate that. I know David speaks really highly of you, Ty, and Corey. What are some of the rewards and what are some of the challenges on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so I mean, it's tough, right? Because when you own your own business, it never closes. It's always there. Especially we don't have it at an office; we run it out of our house. So each night when we sit down at dinner or lay our head down, it's in the back of our mind and it's there, and we got to be ready to go in the morning because we have people depending on us for the service and then our employees. So there's always challenges. I would say like the biggest thing that probably gets us going in the morning is us trying to get through the routing, right? Like, I mean, because it's always like, all right, what was left over from yesterday? Bring that in and see where we can shuffle it in with today's workload. That will always get us going. But I think it's crazy. Dealing with a lot of customers, right? Like you always get like that 10 to 20% each day. That's like, okay, they just came. Where are you at? Right. My big deal was like, I'm not coming home unless I sold 4 new customers on the process, right? So, I mean, Rachel used to call like, hey, you've gotten your 4 or 5 orders today. I need you to stop because you got to finish the routes, right? You're going to be home so late. I know you're going to get them finished, but you're not going to be home till 7, and we kind of want to have dinner with you, right? But I'm like, I know. And anytime the customers would start calling at like 3, 4, like, hey, your guy still isn't here. Is he coming? Rachel was all, God, Jimmy's out there again, and I'm like, yeah, we had a lot of walkers out today. And of course I'm going to take the time to speak with all of them. So those times too gets a little, because she's sitting behind the computer going, I need this done, and I'm going, no, we need more customers, and I love to sell the process and everything, which is super fun because I mean no one's ever seen it before, right? I mean it's awesome once you get them bought in, you kind of tell them the whole process and sell them. I mean it's such an easy close.
That's really funny because it reminds me of whenever my dad would get on a call, like, oh, it's just going to be like, we'd be in a car trip on a family vacation. It'll just be 5 minutes. And we'd all look at each other like, we're not going to be able to listen to any radio, I guess, for the next 2 hours because it keeps going. But it's just like that passion and you want to share it with them. I should also mention that Jimmy and Rachel have 5 little ones as well. So they're running this business and also have 5 little kids to take care of. So I'm sure it leads to a lot of laughs at times, or just moments where you feel like you have to laugh so you don't lose your mind.
Oh, totally. I mean, we keep the calendar full. The kids love the trucks. If they could go out there all day with us, they would. Dive in. Don't be scared. Don't just rely on anyone. Like really, you pick your partners and work through the process with them and learn it. I would say it'd be the first goal, and then secondly, make those high, medium, and low goals for yourself on how you want to sell and be successful. and stick to it. It's going to change throughout the year and the season and everything, but really have it built out and add timelines. Like understand your market. So if you got a seasonality effect, when do you need to turn on your advertising? Don't turn on your advertising in the middle of winter. You're just blowing away dollars.
What kind of message do you think that sends to the industry? More so, obviously, personal things happen. We understand that. But folks that are only giving it 3-4 months and then selling.
That's something that I think that we all preach, right? When you and our sales team talk to clients, we tell everyone, and you've heard this before, this is not a get rich overnight business. Um, some of our most successful clients are ordering a truck every single year. Clients like Brian Flinchman up in Jacksonville, he's got 6 trucks. John Michael, 8 trucks. Every spring they're ordering another truck, and it took them 3 years to get there. So when someone comes in and talks to me or talks to you and says, "Well, I'm going to quit my daytime job and start doing this," my response is, what kind of working capital do you have? I'll ask questions because I don't want to see my truck or trailer up for sale within 6 months. And trust me, there's been at least 4 or 5 in the last couple of months that have sold their truck or trailer in less than 5 months. We cannot emphasize enough that it takes time. Your first year, you have to educate the consumer, right? We talked about this. People know if you need a landscaper, you need a pool supply cleaning company, pest control company, you know where to find them. So people aren't going to find you. You have to find them. And that's your first year.
So what advice or warnings would you give to somebody who, although has a business background, of what to anticipate for the trash bin cleaning industry, which is such a new industry?
Number one, have patience. Have patience. Join every chamber of commerce group that you have in your city. Networking is huge. Really reaching out, driving that truck around or your trail. That's a moving billboard. Every time I went to Costco's or BJ's or to the supermarket, I drive my truck with 2 bins in the back of my hopper driving around. People see a trash bin cleaning truck or a trailer, and it doesn't really sink. But if they see 2 bins in the back of the hopper, you're driving around, even turning on the spray heads and steam coming out, that really sends a strong message. So it's really have patience. Know that your first year, it's not going to be a home run. People leave here after I talk to them, and then 4 months later they're selling, and the response is, "I thought this would be a home run." We try and be as transparent as we possibly can. Give it time. It's going to work. And if you look at some of the most successful clients out there, they that have 6, 7, 8 trucks in their fleet, it took them time. It took them at least 3 years to get to where they're turning a profit. Some a lot sooner. Some pick up big contracts from day one, but don't bank on that your first year. It's possible, but it's not. It's not that common.
I started doing some research on how I can be more efficient in doing this and how I can take the steps to protect the environment and stop using the harsh chemicals that I was using. So I hopped on YouTube, as I do for all my research, and I came across a company in the UK that had been doing this, and I saw the system and I was super intrigued. I was impressed and started doing my research for manufacturers near me. I think I spoke to 4 or 5 different companies in that time. And when I finally got a hold of Sparkling Bins, I actually spoke to you. You were my point of contact from the beginning. And I think the biggest thing for me was it was the only company that I spoke to that I didn't feel pressured or I was being sold on something. One of the first things you told me was to do my research, to speak to people in the industry, to understand if this was something that I wanted to get into by speaking to people who were in my position, maybe a year prior or before that. And so I started speaking to people. I spent a lot of time on the phone with you. I know we had a lot of back and forths, but I felt comfortable. I felt like I was getting involved with a company that was going to be there for the long haul, not only a company that's going to sell me top of the line equipment, but will be there to help me grow my business. So we had a tough time following up a company that was doing this before us, and this must be 3 years ago, and they were forced to shut down their business because they were caught dumping water on the street while they were driving. So that, following that up and helping people understand, how we dispose of that water, was a big part of it. But it's really comes down to that education. So we're not trying to compare ourselves to anybody or bash somebody for doing it another way. We have a brand new system that's completely different than anything else that is out there and that anybody had in our area. So showing people what we're capable of is where people really start to change their mindset. You can explain to somebody all you want that we clean trash bins, but they might still think that you're showing up and you're doing it manually. So when they really see the system in action is when they really start to understand what it is that we do and the service that we provide. We'll get into a lot of the Facebook groups, the community groups, and we will poll communities. And we did that at the beginning. We asked people, would you pay for this service? How much would you be willing to pay for it? And that's how we came up with our price points for the company. So using all the tools, the free tools of social media to your advantage is a massive help in any business, not just this one.